Well, peace be with you. So good to have you here in person, our seven households online. It's great to have you here. Tuesday. I hope you heard the news on Tuesday. What happened on Tuesday? We heard about the engagement, yes, of... There were some other people that got engaged that day too, but that's the one we heard about. The 14-time Grammy winner, the 3-time Super Bowl champion, will become a true power couple worth over $1.6 billion. Travis Kelce's dad says that in family gatherings and parties, Taylor and Travis kiss all the time. They can't keep their hands off of each other. It must be love. It must be love. They reportedly want to start a family soon, and insiders said they absolutely want kids. I mean, what a story this is. And the couple's engagement photo, this is their engagement photo. This was on our front cover today, had over 14 million Instagram likes in the first hour. 14 million likes. The internet blew up. It just blew up. Travis planned the whole thing very traditional, went down on one knee. Fans are going crazy, wanted to know about details of the upcoming wedding. And now many famous brands and companies are jumping in saying, you know what you want at your wedding? You want something from Cheesecake Factory or Whataburger. Whataburger has all these announcements. Pillsbury has reached out, Southwest Airlines has reached out, Shake Shack, Olapop, and others. I happen to know a number of clergy in Massachusetts have also offered their services if they should request it. I have also volunteered my services to officiate. However, for some reason, the management teams around Taylor and Travis have yet to reach back out to me. I don't know why. I know I'll hear very soon. And the guest list will probably include, people are speculating, best friends, Selena Gomez, Sabrina Carpenter, Zoe Kravitz, new bestie, Brittany Mahomes, who is the wife of star football player you've heard of Patrick Mahomes? Yeah, okay, you have, okay. My mom loves Patrick Mahomes, and plus stars will be there such as Stevie Nicks, Mick Jagger, Ed Sheeran, Christina Perri, Emma Stone. A nice intimate affair. The question is, where do you seat all those people at the wedding? How do you say to a star, you're like second or third tier? Do you seat Selena Gomez next to your parents? Or do you put her by Mick Jagger next to the exit to the restroom? Where do you put Selena Gomez? Nobody wants to be the friend in the corner or the celebrity on the second tier where they really can't hear everything in the back. And who really is the closer friend? Ed Sheeran or Sabrina Carpenter? We will find out soon. Fortunately, in our reading today, brought to us by Tom of the words of Jesus, Jesus addresses this very question that Taylor and Travis want to know about. Like, where do you seat people at a wedding banquet? What do you do? So we know Jesus loved to go to parties. Jesus loved to eat and fellowship and be at many gatherings, from the wedding at Cana to hanging out with the despised people like tax collectors, to being at these very wealthy gatherings with leaders of the Pharisees. That's where Jesus would hang out, all these different groups of people. And in today's reading, Jesus is actually at his third dinner party with the Pharisees in the Gospel of Luke. He keeps going back again and again. Now, some of the other writers in the New Testament will heighten the animosity between Jesus and the Pharisees and portray them as enemies and direly opposites and opposed to each other. Somehow, like the Pharisees, don't believe in God's love and justice. But here, this is already his third dinner party with the Pharisees. And some theologians and writers actually suggest that Jesus may have been part of the Pharisee movement and was criticizing it from within. Scholar Chaim Maccabee wrote a book called Jesus the Pharisee, a new look at the Jewishness of Jesus. And I think it'd be helpful for us to look at this. His comments here in our scripture today has a friend at the party, not someone who's attacking or being attacked, but a friend at the party. And yet it's a good friend who could be honest with you, who can challenge you and confront you when you need to be challenged and confronted. That is a very valuable friend to have, to tell you the honest truth. Like, you are falling short here. I'm telling you as a good friend, you're falling short. And so here's the first way that Jesus confronts his friends at this party. After church, everyone was going to the house of the leader of the Pharisees. It was quite a big to-do in the town. A man had an edema, which is a large swelling, and this could be caused by infections or something more serious like a liver disease or even a heart failure. And everybody was watching Jesus carefully because they knew it was a Sabbath. There's special rules about when you're supposed to do things. And Jesus asked his fellow guests, who are many of them experts in God's law, if it was lawful to cure people on the Sabbath or not, knowing what the answer was. And Jesus went ahead and healed the man. And nobody, you'll notice, nobody said anything. And now Jesus confronts his friends. He says, look at the way people are choosing seats at this party that we're at right now. He said, imagine you're at a wedding party. Let's say, and Jesus knows all, let's say it was at Taylor Swift's and Travis Kelce's wedding banquet. And Jesus says, don't make a fool of yourself by choosing to sit next to Selena Gomez and Ed Sheeran. If you place yourself too highly, you'll be asked to move to a lesser seat, and maybe very large security people will do that and move you to, or maybe show you the exit door next to where Mick Jagger is. You don't want to be back there. Instead, start at the lowest seat, and then when Travis and Taylor see you seated there, say, oh no, friend, come to this higher seat next to us. You can sit next to us now at the higher table. Then you'll be honored in front of everybody. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. It sounds a little bit like advice how to get ahead in social circles, right? How to make yourself look, I'll act more humble so then you can exalt me, and then I will be exalted. Good advice, let's say, for anyone who's going to be invited to Taylor and Travis's wedding. And I'm still waiting to hear if they can officiate. I'll let you know. But this is more than advice that Jesus is giving just to look good in front of other people. Jesus is not teaching us how to get ahead in society. He's challenging his friends to practice gratitude. I just healed this man here. Isn't that far more important than who has what seat at this wedding banquet? Let's be grateful that he can be healed. Let's be grateful we're here. Let's be grateful we can celebrate this moment as friends and have some joy in life. Put aside your social striving. Be grateful. Be grateful in this moment. And then Jesus turns to the host of the wedding feast of this dinner party, actually. And he gives a second challenge. This is his second challenge. He says, the host, the next time you put on a dinner, don't just invite your friends and family and rich neighbors, the kind that can repay you and return the favor. Instead, invite some people who never get invited out. The misfits, people from the wrong side of the tracks, the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. And you'll experience a blessing. You know, they're not going to be able to return the favor. The favor will be returned. Oh, how it will be returned at the resurrection of God's people. Now, at this point, I find myself nodding my head, and maybe you are also nodding your head, and you're like, you go, Jesus. You tell them. You put them in their place. But do I change my behavior? On Friday, I have to tell you, my daughter is healed and stabilized this week. I'll tell you more later. She was able to have her birthday party on Friday, and it was family gathered together. But this last week, I did not hold a banquet for the poor and the lost. There's a new Instagram meme, reads, "We want just enough Jesus." We want just enough Jesus to get to heaven, but not enough Jesus to change us on earth. And I thought that was a great saying. Just enough Jesus to inspire me, but not enough to transform me. Just enough Jesus to bless my plans, but not enough Jesus to actually change them. Just enough Jesus to be inspired on Sunday, but not enough Jesus that makes a difference Monday through Saturday. And that's the kind of challenge Jesus is giving at this dinner table, which includes the Pharisees, which includes us today. The Pharisees are the people who are trying to do everything the right way. We're trying to do everything the right way. We're trying to be really good people. So let's listen a little bit more closely to Jesus' words. He talks about the resurrection of the righteous, and he's talking about what really matters, ultimate meanings. What are we going to do before we die? How are we going to use our time? What really matters? Today is the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina hitting New Orleans. It was a multiple-day disaster. This was the last day of that horrific disaster that back in 2005 caused over 1,800 deaths, $100 billion plus in damages. Years after that, there would be different mission groups coming in to help, try to do a little bit here, a little bit there. I was part of one of them that came down years after. It was a national youth gathering. This is when I was a part of a Lutheran church. We brought a group of kids down to New Orleans to see what we could do, joined together with youth groups from across the nation, 37,000 teenagers. We had massive worship services packed in the what was it called? What they called down there? The Superdome? I think they called it Superdome at the time. Called the Superdome. It was big, and imagine a Superdome packed with teenagers from church youth groups. It was a pretty amazing experience, fantastic speakers and music. The kids were on their feet, and then the week they would be charged up, and they would go out, and this was reported in the news down there. People were very impressed. A reporter from the New Orleans Gambit said, look at how they're spending their week in our city here. They performed 200 community service projects, hosted a health fair, they built a 2-mile hiking trail, they're holding reading fairs for children, they're painting and cleaning, they're repairing houses, working with master carpenters from Habitat for Humanity. They can, with 37,000 willing bodies, you can do a lot of painting. You can do a lot of cleanup. And all across New Orleans, they were restoring cemeteries that had been destroyed. They were replanting marsh grasses that had been swept away. And I was a little part of that. It was an incredible experience to be there. And the reporter went on, "We're humbled. We are so humbled at their generosity." And they're thanking us for the chance to be here. And I saw that. And he said, "We're so humbled that these young people travel so far on their summer vacation to work and worship in New Orleans." And he said, "Regardless of your faith or lack thereof," this reporter said, "these excited young volunteers were an inspiration." And he said, just one of them accomplished more good than all the preachers and the politicians in the world who saw Katrina as an opportunity for perverse justice or for publicity. And so I was so proud of the youth groups, of the youth group that I was in that went down to work there. And that's a lot of youth groups to get 37,000 teens. And on the way out, as we were leaving, all these groups are looking for places, grab a little lunch before driving back. I remember we drove straight from New Orleans to Massachusetts. So we did stop and get some food before we left. I would say youth group, that's what you do. And a different youth group that was going back to Pennsylvania, this reporter was in a cafe when they came in. It was called Betsy's Pancake House in Mid-City. And he said it had its usual mix of Sunday people, like very regal people that had just been to church with the big flowery hats, and some people that had been partying all night long and were stumbling in to the cafe. And into this cafe, come the pastor, I think it was his wife, a couple of adult volunteers, 9 teenagers with their backpacks, coming in, sitting down. They make a place for them to sit. And the waitress is explaining what happened to the cafe during Katrina, and the kids are probably more interested at this point in what is grits anyway? And you have grits for breakfast? What is this stuff? And trying to understand what's going on. And the pastor was explaining, well, we could have gone to Burger King, but we really we have Burger King up, in Pennsylvania, where we're going back to, in Massachusetts. And we wanted to, have dinner where local people go before we go back up. When he's shaking hands with people, he said, "We're from a church in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and none of us have ever been to New Orleans before." And then the waitress put a $20 bill on his table. I said, "What?" He said, "That gentleman that's just leaving just gave you $20 to help pay for your breakfast. We know it's really tight for you to get here." And then another 20 came from, and another 10, and bills just kept coming there. And a couple of the adult guys just started crying at that point. And because how do you say thank you? So the reporter asked, how do you say thank you for someone coming down to help rebuild your city when everyone else has forgotten about you? You can't. He said you can say, thank you for caring, thank you for your sweat and optimism, thank you for traveling to a place that's so unlike your home and taking your summer vacation to spend it with us, for having dinner with us on this day before you leave us. And thank you for not forgetting what happened. And just looking back at that experience, that was a blessing to have that. This little youth group from a church in Pennsylvania had decided not only to spend time at Betsy's Mid-City Pancake House, but to spend time with the people of New Orleans, to spend time with a city that was hurting, that had been still reeling years after this disaster. And I am so encouraged today when I see our church people, when I see people here giving their time to walk with those who are hurting, those who are lonely, and sitting down to meals, whether it be a meal after our Christmas play with the people from Congregational, meals at the outdoor church or Bristol Lodge, and all these ways that we are sitting down to different banquets. But we're not done. Jesus asks us, okay, how are we going to spend our time next week? How are we going to spend our time next year? Jesus, our friend at the dinner party, is confronting us in front of everybody else. Jesus is challenging us. It's not, and he says, it's about inviting. It's not about trying to exalt yourself. It's about inviting the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind to our dinner table, welcoming, Democrats, Republicans, gay, straight, athletic, disabled, the homeless, those with huge mansions, immigrants, and old-time New Englanders. My hope and my prayer for Taylor and Travis is that despite their immense wealth and social popularity, they will have a friend unafraid to challenge and confront them when they need to be challenged and confronted, to practice gratitude and to host parties that really do welcome all. That's my prayer for them, that they have that friend. We have that friend in Jesus. Thanks be to God.